Welcome to Mimir, the podcast for ambitious entrepreneurs who want to launch and grow a successful business from day one. I'm your host, Maddie Kelly, and each week I sit down with founders who have been there, done that. We dive into the mindset, strategies, and practical tools you need to turn your vision into a reality. So let's get to work.
So, what is your deepest intention with our conversation today?
Yeah, I think, so much of our relationship so far has been like the word that always comes to mind for me is like surprising. So I'm kind of hoping that this episode presents itself similarly to whoever who desperately needed to hear this.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mimir. I wanted to share that little bit of audio before we dive into the episode because this was an important moment that happened off air. I wanted you all to hear it because I'm putting out this message in a bottle, hoping that if you're tuning in today and you're feeling stuck, heavy, or unsure about your next step, this conversation could change it all. And I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic because that's genuinely what Carolyn Cooper did for me. Carolyn is a love-inspired leader, and when I say that, I don't mean in the fluffy Instagram quote kind of way. Like, she literally leads with love. It's the foundation of how she lives, how she works, and how she helps others rise. She spent decades building businesses, guiding leaders, and teaching people how to live and work above the line, which essentially means like choosing curiosity, possibility, and purpose over doubt, fear, and resentment. We're going to talk a lot about that later, but it's a philosophy I'm deeply aligned with. Carolyn has a way of bringing truth to the surface, the kind of truth that makes you pause, take a deep breath, and see your life differently. In this episode, she shares how to recognize when it's time to let go and why courage always lives on the other side of that decision, how to build your dream team so you can live and work with more joy, her ask, allow, receive mantra, and why being receptive is sort of like an underrated skill right now, how to bring love into every single part of your life so you can actually be happy. But more than any single tip or framework, this episode is really about mindset. Carolyn will challenge you to think differently about how you show up in life, who you surround yourself with, and most importantly, how you see yourself. If you've ever felt stuck in negative thinking, drained by the wrong tasks, or unsure how to lead with both strength and empathy, this is for you. Whether you're an early stage founder, a seasoned leader, or someone navigating a personal pivot, Carolyn's insights are a masterclass in clarity, courage, and building a life and business you truly love. Because to me, success isn't about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the process.
Carolyn, thank you for being here. Welcome to the podcast.
I am so excited to be here with Maddie today. For the audience to know that, it's twofold for me. We had an amazing connection, her and I, and
Yep.
I truly know the wisdom that you hold at such a young age. And
oh my gosh, thank you.
The second part of it is my daughter's name is Madeline and she calls herself Maddie. So I just really hold the space that we bring the information today to the folks who are listening, that it impact their lives in a positive way, create some solutions and answers to some of the places that they may be struggling, and become the love-inspired leaders that they are meant to be.
Thank you. That is so beautiful. And you're just giving me like so many ideas right now. I feel like the juices are flowing. So when we met, like it was such a funny thing. Like we met through a networking group. I wasn't expecting anything out of it, but it just turned out to be such a blessing to have met you. And you always radiate this like beautiful joy and calm energy and wisdom. So I think maybe let's start sort of like at the beginning. I would love for you to introduce yourself to the listeners, share a little bit about what you do and what you feel called to do in this chapter of your life.
Well, this journey has been a journey of discovery within my life, and I have always been fascinated by the concept of what love is, what love does, and what love represents. And that's both personally, because of a lot of hardship and pain that I went through as a young person within my family. And then it became this pursuit, purpose, and passion in my professional world. So I got involved in sales. I was very successful in selling beauty supply products to beauty salons. And I bought my first house at 21 years old, 2 blocks away from the ocean. And I was just so curious and fascinated by people, by the way that they thought, by how they made decisions, and what mattered most to them. So my journey has been one of willingness to be a lifelong learner and always curious and fascinated how to live a life of meaning, of purpose, and passion. And I've been a successful salesperson for years, and then I got bored, so I quit. I kind of did my eat, pray, love thing before the movie came out.
Where did you do your eat, pray, love?
30. I sold my house, quit my job, went to Europe by myself.
Oh my gosh.
Was a totally spoilt, rotten, egotistical young woman, to be honest, because I had all this abundance. And yet there felt like this huge empty space and gap in my life. And I thought, you know what? I got to let this go. There's something better out there. I can feel it in my bones. And I know I have to leave this, even though it's cushy, it's comfortable, it's easy. I mean, in those days, I only worked 3 days a week. I mean,
wow.
I know, because I implemented love into my service with all my clients. I supported them to be better leaders within their organizations. Yet the hunger had stopped. So for me, I got to love what I do and keep learning and growing, or else I got to let it go. So
totally,
I've done it. I've done it in business partnerships too, that, it was great. And it worked well within the partnership, and we created great success. Yet when it gets to that point for me that I get that internal calling to step up, to show up, and to speak up, and let go to lead, I do that with courage. And I really, truly know that each one of us has the same amount of courage within us.
Yeah, I think we just have to let it flow. But so you were like, you were successful in your career, and then you sort of realized that there was more. And so you dropped everything, went to Europe, lived your best life. What came to you while you were there? Like, what was that learning experience like?
So much. It's the first time that I slowed down, because I was a driver. I was an accomplisher. I was a driven young person. And it's the first time in my life that I slowed down enough to listen to my internal voice of wisdom. And I went by myself. I went for 3 months.
Nice.
And I would just look at the map and close my eyes and put my finger on a place and go there. And I met incredible people that made an impact in my life. And they were there, I knew, to guide me and direct me in my perspective. So I came back totally fueled by my next step, which was to start my own business. And that was a courageous journey. I had to face myself. See, I always sold products of other people. But now, when I got back from Europe, when I was 30 years old, I was starting my own consulting training business. And I just
So then you're
remember
sort of like,
looking at my phone, because in those days we didn't have tech. So this is 37 years ago that I started my own business. And I just remember going, Carolyn, you got to get over yourself right now, girl. Come on. Get your brave boots on, step out of your comfort zone and go invite the business. And that's what I did. And I procrastinated for a little while. And then I thought, no, I'm not buying my own basic stories here. No. I'm going to be successful. So I just went out and talked to people and pounded the pavement, and I created great success in that business too. It was called CC, Carolyn Cooper, Creative Consulting. So I did keynotes, I did training for different companies. I played secret shopper in
cool.
retail businesses, like in the optical industry. And then I'd write a report to the president of the organization and told them what worked, what didn't work. And I gave them solutions with my training program, and they hired me.
I mean, that checks out. That makes a lot of sense to me. I think what's really fun about your experience is that it's such a great analogy for personal transformation and business clarity sort of going hand in hand. And this is something I talk about all the time on the podcast, that you have to understand yourself in order to be successful in business. But I think, the hardest part of all of this, and I think even like thinking back to your story, that moment when you have to quiet the noise and start hearing yourself, it's not, at least in my experience, something that happens immediately. And it's kind of, you go from like understanding the external noise to then trying to parse what is like internal noise versus like what is, until you get kind of like down the funnel into your personal voice. And I'm like curious to hear your experience and like, how do you help people who struggle to step into that visibility and growth?
Well, it's a decision. I mean, the more mature I get, year after year after year, I realize that life is truly very simple. That it is a decision, what I think, what I focus on. It's a decision as to, and that's what I did when I stared at that phone. I made a decision. Carolyn, get up, get going, get out there. And I've continued to do that. And it's a principle and a philosophy that a woman, this key that I wear all the time. I was given this key when I was 18 years old by an incredible woman. Her name was Emma. And she was the way I looked at it, she was my adopted mother and spiritual mother. That's the way I looked at it. And I'd meet her for coffee. She would say phrases to me, and they would land so deeply in my soul that I know my job for my entire life has been living her legacy of what she taught me. And her one principle that she taught me was thinking above the line. So this is very simple. And I have transformed this into customer service, into sales training, into so many different forms. So the line is a line of decision. See, each moment we make a decision. We either have a thought process that we're curious, or we are doubtful, judgmental, critical, in lack. We blame, we resent. So there's this line of decision. So I always get people to write across your paper a line and know that you have the control over your thoughts. You do. That's the ticket. So the first if anything happens in your life, so anything challenging, hard, difficult, or exciting, the first decision to make is to be curious. I wonder what I can learn from this. I wonder where I can find solutions and answers to this issue. I'm curious about, let's say I remember speaking in front of, 1,000 people at one particular time. And I thought, I got to think above the line here consistently to be grounded and focused in my message. So I thought, I wonder who I'm going to meet. I wonder what I'm going to learn. And I wonder how I'm going to feel at the end when I'm finished. So it's a shift to go above the line with curiosity, wonder, purpose, and a positive perspective.
Yeah.
And below the line is doubt, fear, anger, resentment. We don't go anywhere except on the hamster wheel down there. And we drain our energy, and if we stay down below the line for long, that's depression. That's exhaustion. And the way to have vitality is to make the decision. Keep changing the percentage of time that you think above the line. It's that simple.
Yeah. I saw something interesting that somebody was talking to the Dalai Lama, and they were asking him, what do you do to expel negative thoughts? And what his response was, I thought was really fascinating, is that he was saying that essentially it comes from two things. One being that it's a self-centered mindset. And the second being that you accept your reality as it appears.
Yes.
As opposed to the alternative of those two things. If you take yourself out of it, which I think comes back to what you're saying with curiosity.
Yes.
Where it's you don't just spiral and inward focus. You're okay, you start to pull in all these other concepts and ideas and other people when it comes to solving a problem. And then on top of that, it's you don't accept things at face value, and you think further to say, how can this be different, or what can I do differently, or how can this be changed? And I think those really lend itself to thinking above the line, because it comes with a positive attitude that comes out of a willingness to see an alternative.
Yes. There's another piece to it too that is really powerful. It is to surrender to what is. So Emma told me, Carolyn, what is. So it's linked with what you're saying right now, which is an acceptance of what is. So it's making the decision to not be in resistance to it.
Yeah.
It is to accept it and be mature enough within ourselves to realize that we don't control the universe.
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, for decades, I lived under the illusion of thinking that I could control what happened outside of me. And no.
Yeah, and actually, I think this is an interesting point, because a lot of time online right now is all about manifestation, and I think there is a misconception that manifestation is control. And I think people are oh, well, you can make anything in your life happen, which is true. Your dreams can come true, yes, but you cannot use manifestation as means for control. I think that there is something else, and I feel I'd love for you to kind of expand on what the difference is for people, because I think this is a common misconception.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So let's look at when The Secret came out. Do you remember when that book came out? Do you remember? Maybe it's before your time. But when The Secret came out, people thought, oh my goodness, well, I just have to focus on that car. I just have to focus on that house. I just have to think about it. Well, that's not the whole truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of it. So I have a mantra that I use is when I decide an outcome that I want to manifest, I will hold that vision in place and make the commitment within myself that I will have consistent, intentional action moving towards that outcome. And I am 100% responsible for my thinking in
Mm-hmm.
alignment with what that is and what
Yeah.
that does. And when I slip below the line in doubt, fear, resentment, anger, judgment, blame, any of those negative, constricting thoughts, I slow down the manifestation process.
Yeah.
That's the truth right there.
Yeah. I think that's so important to understand that there's so much more nuance to how all of this operates. Like, it's not just, like you said, you have to focus on, I think specifically to like the car or the house, I think is also very limiting. I saw something the other day that was like, it's the same thing as if you go to a restaurant and you tell the waiter, bring me anything, but I don't want tacos. The waiter's like, what do I do with that information?
Yeah.
Whereas if you are at a bar, for example, and you tell the bartender that you're like, I really love sour cocktails. I love the smell of smoke. I really, love the combination of salt and spice. Like, you're giving them so much more to work with, and then they create for you this beautiful cocktail that is better than you ever could have imagined. And I feel like manifestation and like making your dreams come true is really just about, to your point, like a positive mindset, because it all has to come from a good place and an action towards that goal consistently. And then I think also, like, what people always miss is a level of flexibility and adaptability. And to your point, when there's resistance, you have to be able to flow around it, because like, and we talked about this too, that like resistance is always pointing us toward what we want, ironically. And like, this was a big moment for us when we talked, because I was having a terrible day and you helped me see the bright side again, I think, through this principle.
Yeah. And there's two pieces I want to pull out of what you said. And I want to just let your listeners know, Maddie is very wise for her year. Did you hear what she just said? I love it. So here's the piece that I want to pull out of that. And it's this, that it's incredibly important that we become the energy and presence of that outcome. Mm-hmm. So, there's many books written about this, and it's feeling in your body what it's going to feel like when that is manifested. And I think it's the feeling piece that people don't embrace, absorb, and use their imagination to wrap their mind. I always say, wrap your mindset, your heart set, and your soul set around. And, for me, I've manifested extraordinary results because of that. And people spend so much time in their head.
Yeah.
They forget, to navigate down the 18 inches to their heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's intentional. It is holding that space for the loving, what it is that you're moving towards. And, as an entrepreneur, I think it's very important to be able to move towards your calling, your purpose, your passion, And it takes courage to let go to lead, which is letting go of those habitual limiting thoughts and beliefs. I was just journaling about this morning, that the power of becoming a love inspired leader is, truly connected to the commitment to rise up above the line and stay focused with your energy, with your presence of being in the moment, and navigating through life by trusting the process, that everything that happens to us is for us. And that's what you mentioned earlier. You're having this, issue of a day. You hopped on a chat with me on Zoom, and I know everything. That means the people I see on my jaunts every morning, on my 5K, this older Asian woman that says every day, "Good morning, have a good day." I love seeing her. It just lifts me up. So everything that happens to us, good, challenging, and indifferent, is there to guide us, to direct us forward towards what matters most. And I'm on a mission to show people that love is all there is. And we have made up all these stories of limitations and, limiting thought processes and beliefs that are just not the truth. Because when you love your life, you're on the path of joy every moment. And that's my mission for organizations, for entrepreneurs, for people, because I know that it's the way to live, because it's the decision that I have made, and it's got miraculous outcomes and magic in it too. So I have a gift for your audience too, by the way. It's a 21-day. It's just hot off the press. I'm so excited about this. The 21-day above the line, live, lead, and love unapologetically with courage. So it's 21 days of a 3-minute audio recording, some meditative reflections, some journal prompts, 21 days of dropping into your email box to transform your position to be a love-inspired leader. So that's either personally or professionally.
That sounds amazing. I would love to see what that looks like in practice. And I think that's so important, because I think where this gets sticky for people, and especially older people, I think like there's a misconception that working hard, like it's pushing through like hard stuff and arduousness in general means that it's good and like it's working. And if you are consistently met with hardship, then like you just have to push through it and work through it, and it's going to be fine. And I think it's like, I think this is also where people get confused with this kind of thing, because it's like, well, of course you have to work hard to get what you want. And, obviously that's not what we're saying. Like, we're not saying that it's not going to take effort, but I think there's a difference between exerting, like, I think there's a difference between de-stress and eustress, where it's like, does your work cause you stress? Probably, especially as an entrepreneur, you're dealing with so much. But is it good stress? Is it exciting? Is it fun? Versus being in de-stress, where it's like you're literally distressed and by a situation or by work.
Yeah. So I have a practical way of analyzing that I want to share right now. And the truth is that we make a decision to be stressed in the moment. So my experience of stress is that when we make the decision to take time each day, I do mine in the morning. I get up really early, like 5, 4:30. And I do my journal, my recording, my jaunt, my yoga, my magnified eating. And then I have my shower and then I do my day. Yet that grounds me. So whatever situation that I might be faced throughout the day, whether it be challenging, stressful, I am so grounded that I am thinking above the line to find the answer, to find the solution, to move forward. So it's a decision to be stressed. That's the first thing. And it takes practice, I will tell you, to change this percentage of thought processes below the line to above the line. So the second thing is this, and I did this changed my life. And I did it about 5 years ago. So I decided, you know what? I don't want to be drained anymore. I don't want to be frustrated. I don't want to be exhausted. I don't want to be doing the things that are, not joy filled for me. So this is what I did. And it was so perfect. And the universe manifested the perfect person for me. So here's the exercise. Draw a line down your page. On the left-hand side, write down daily what it is that you love about your day, especially as an entrepreneur, because when you're in flow, when you're in the moment and it's just flowing, that's when you love your life, right? So this
totally.
I love. Right now, this second, I love this because this is truth going out to the world, and that nothing sizzles my soul more than that, than bringing answers and solutions to people to stop suffering.
Yeah.
So also, I love the creative aspect. My 21 day above the line, it was so fun doing it. I cried. It's so good. My virtual assistant created it, and then I saw the beautiful outcome of how gorgeous. I mean, I just cried big fat tears. So that brings me joy. So the love it list is what brings you joy when you're in flow, when things happen easily. That's the left-hand side of the page. Right-hand side of the page is your let go list. So those are the things that drain you, exhaust you, the things where you go down into a rabbit hole. See, me in Canva is dangerous because I'll spend 3, 4, 5 hours in there and I haven't even accomplished anything and I'm not good at it. It's awful. And I used to just get so frustrated by it. And I knew I had to create these, lead magnets, whatever. So I made a decision over a 2-week period. I listed all the things on the left-hand side that I love to do. And then I listed all the things that were frustrating, draining, that I wanted to let go. I thought, okay, this is an experiment because life is an experiment. Marketing is an experiment. Business is an experiment. So I thought, okay, so I'm going to design a description of the ultimate virtual assistant that I can hire. And she's going to have all the strengths of everything on the right-hand side. And she's also going to understand the things that I love on the left-hand side. So I created this description. Within 2 weeks, she showed up on Zoom at an event that I was hosting, and she stayed on after. And I said, "Who are you?"
Really? Like you weren't hiring for the role?
Yeah, I didn't even look. She showed up. And this is the most amazing story. And she said, "Well, my name's Marielle." I said, "Marielle, you're a virtual." She goes, "Yes, I am." I said, "Where are you, Marielle?" She said, "In the Philippines." I said, "Perfect." So I reached out to her and we connected. That was almost 5 years ago. And she's been my virtual assistant ever since. I have so much freedom. I have so much flexibility. She does everything I don't want to do with joy, love. She has incredible creative processes on Canva. She's great at everything admin for me. And she said this to me. She said, "Carolyn, I created a description of the purpose-driven person that I wanted to work with.
No.
The same thing I did.
Shut up.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. And she said that when I saw you hosting that event with 150 people on Zoom, which is what I did during that event, she said, I thought you were a movie star. I thought you were so beautiful. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is my kind of girl. And we've had this love fest, creative, successful journey together. And now we're just launched my love inspired leadership podcast that's going to contribute so much love to the world and interview people like yourself, like we're doing next week. And
I can't wait.
To me, we're not meant to do this alone. So here's the message I want people to realize that are suffering right now. We are never meant to do this alone. And you got to find your dream team.
Mm-hmm.
Marielle's on my dream team. I also have other strategic alliances who know who I am, that if I go off the path of thinking above the line, I can call them within 2 minutes. They'll set me straight. Chop, chop, chop. I'll be back to thinking above the line and clear and focused. So you got to build your dream team, your mentors. And truly, I believe as a love inspired leader, you have to know what you need, what you want, and what you're willing to let go of to simplify your success.
I think that's like really something that just is really coming to me and like being super clarified for me in this moment is that listening to your story, it's a lot about inviting the right people. I think we talk a lot about, especially for early stage entrepreneurs, who you surround yourself with is incredibly important because an idea in its sort of like beginning stage can be squashed with, outside input that's not necessarily valuable in that moment. And I think we talk a lot about like only focusing on the people who are right for you in that moment. But I think there's something like kind of negative about that. And I think to your point, it's about building your dream team. And that inherently has this like positive aspect to it where you're inviting the right people. It's not about creating smaller circles, because I think this might be my problem. I think about like I don't have very many friends, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's just like I'm much more of a one-to-one person, not like a big group girly, which is fine. Like I'm not mad about that, but I think that my mindset potentially might be limiting because it's not an inviting process. I'm thinking to myself like, oh, it should be small, and instead, like hearing what you're saying, it's about not as, it's like, what, do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know exactly what you're saying. Can I take it from here? Because
Yes,
I know
please.
exactly what you're saying. So what it is, so we have these unconscious limiting beliefs. And what I just gave you is a gift. And, there's lots of incredible information on neuroscience, on neural pathways. The neural pathways that create success are above the line, which has an open mind. And the truth is that it is a significant decision to dream bigger. And remember I said you're never meant to do it alone. So the wise business leaders have their own core values, intentional characteristics of people that would be on their dream team that have an ability to fill in the gaps within their own limitations, right? So the opportunity and the invitation for you is to open your mind, be curious, have a state of wonder. I wonder who I could have on my dream team, who could support me, guide me, mentor me, and to continue to expand my vision and direction to be successful in the role that I am contributing to right now. And it's what I find fascinating too is we don't even know our blind spots.
Honestly, that's literally what I was just thinking about. Like I like to think of myself as a relatively open-minded, flexible, agile person, but I'm just realizing now that I have a limiting belief, and that was one that was like, I can't have a team until I'm at a certain point. And honestly, I don't even think it was that. I just was like, oh, well, like, of course, one day I will. But even that in and of itself is the limiting belief, where it says like that one day, as opposed to what you're saying, which is to just be, I think there's like a magic in really understanding what it means when people say that your reality should be full of possibilities. Like, we say these things, but they don't always really click.
Yeah, land.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would never be where I am in my life without these 3 words, which were a mantra for a whole year, a few years ago for me. Mantras work for me. Let go to lead was a whole year. Simplify to secure success was a whole year. And this one was so good. It's 3 words, and I would reflect on it so intensely. It's ask, allow, and receive.
Damn, that's good. I feel like I might need to use that, because those 3 words have so much meaning in them, and they work so well together, but they're also individually incredibly important to remember.
Yeah.
Especially for women too. I think there's something about, like, women naturally are receivers, and I don't think that also women are obviously very nurturing, so there's a giving aspect to us as well, but I think that today we don't spend enough time in that like receiver place.
Oh, honestly, I have been a grand giver my whole life. And it's only in the last really 4 or 5 years that I've been curious about, am I receiving this? Am I receiving the celebration of this success that just happened? Am I receiving this appreciation and positive energy right now? Well, I know that I can expand that. I know that I can grow that. So it's a decision, and a conscious, intentional decision to be open to receive. So when someone gives you, a beautiful appreciation and compliment, say only 2 words. Thank you. And let it land. Because that's the foundation of your confidence.
There's it. I wonder why we have this like natural reaction to deflect and to say no. Like, I'm sure it's a safety thing, but especially as entrepreneurs, all of our business, all of our lives are about being able to receive. And if we are not in that mindset in our personal life, there's no way that we're in that mindset for our business.
Nope. And the one piece that I bring in my Aim High, I have a signature program system called the Aim High system. It's 6 steps. Truth, got to start there. Trust, got to trust yourself and this process of being a purposeful, passionate entrepreneur and confident. Number 3 is value. And what I do in my masterminds, I invite my participants to speak to their clients and start with, I'm curious, what is the value that you receive from my service to you? And the element of receiving and the transformation of those people's confidence is off the charts. And it's something that I'm very passionate about, which is giving appreciation and testimonials for people. And I will do that after this podcast for you.
Thank you.
And it's a part of owning the value that we stand for. And it's not what we think in our business. It's what our customers and our clients think.
Yep.
And how they receive it. So it's a bold move for some people. They don't feel comfortable with doing it. And, if anybody's listening right now, please choose 3 clients to talk to ask them, to allow them to share why they continue to be your clients. And my recommendation is to take that information and turn it into truth marketing messages. So that's the love going around, right? So it's coming, it's receiving, and then that's building and growing the organization and the company. I mean, there's so many intentional things that we can do with what is within our company to grow it. And there's so much noise, there's so much confusion, there's so much, image and not real authentic connection out there on social media, on websites. So I just know that this authentic position of love inspired leadership in organizations or in entrepreneurship is what people are yearning for. That's what they're looking for, is an organization to trust and to believe in and to recommend and to stand for. That's how we're growing businesses right now. It's not getting, 5,000 likes on your, no. It's got to be truth, right?
Yeah, this is, oh my God, I'm so glad you brought this up, because I think this is the perfect last question for us. But I think both of you and I specifically, I know for a fact I'm a truth seeker. That's such a core part of who I am. And with you, it's about bringing this truth to the surface. And I want to ask, what does truth mean to you? What does that mean?
Oh, it's so simple, and there's just so many decades of my younger life that I've made it complicated, that I've made it confusing, that I've made it hard. It's very simple. It's in the moment, speaking my truth from my heart and doing it with love, respect, self-forgiveness, and compassion. And anybody can hear anything I have to say when I present it in that way. Yeah. And the wildest dichotomy for me, because I really live this too, personally and professionally, every moment, honestly, it's changed my life. And the wildest dichotomy is, a lot of the times, what I'm thinking is not the truth. So by me speaking my truth with the other person, we take it to what's under that truth, to the real truth. Yep. So it builds this incredible intimacy, connection, trust, and love even more.
Yep.
I'm planning an incredible women in business retreat in November with a powerhouse collaboration woman from another city. And, our partnership is so clean. It's so crisp. She has strengths where I have limitations, and I have strengths where she has limitations. So coming together And there's so much truth in our dream of the experience that we're going to take women through over this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's the only way to roll. It's the only way to roll personally and professionally. And to have the courage to be uncomfortable in it. So to release the resistance, because just magic happens, I have to tell you, like miraculous intimacy and clarity on what the next step will be precisely. It does take courage, though.
Yeah. It's
and
almost
I don't always believe in what I think anymore.
Yeah, 100%. I think if we all believed every single one of our thoughts, that's probably why we end up below the line.
Well, we do.
But I think that like truth, at least from what I'm hearing you say, is like truth is love and clarity. And almost like truth is like love at its highest form, because I don't think that love is always easy. And it's not always comfortable. I mean, you look at like your partner that you're with, you know, it's not always comfortable. And I think that's kind of the point. And that's like half of the beauty of it, is that you can push past that to achieve a new level of comfort. But like truth being love at its highest form, I think is a really, really fascinating concept.
It is. And that's why it's the first step in the Aim High system. Because each of us, in this lifetime, it's very cherished short period of time that we get to be alive here, is that it's ultimately important that we look way deep down in that mirror and find our way back home to what love is, what love does, and what love represents. I feel like I've been chasing love my whole life, and sometimes, you know, not in the right place. So truth is the grounding, centering position to start. And I mean, you know, the relationships that we have, that we can show up and feel safe enough to speak our truth. And you know, your boss is incredible. You told me how absolutely, and I know that you feel safe there. I know that you feel appreciated. And I could just feel the energy of your appreciation and admiration for working with such an incredible organization. And, you know, I commend any leader that takes a stand on that kind of love-inspired leadership, because that's how companies are going to grow now. You know, it's how they're going to keep good, loyal, productive employees.
And it's almost like it goes beyond the company, to be honest. We're all people, and we all work with many companies throughout all of our lives. There's not one single human being that stays with one company from their first job to their last job. And to me, like, that makes it so much more important on who you are as a leader, because you're not really like just influencing the company, you're really influencing a person. And when I think you take it back to that level of like, I am working with a human being, a person, and what I do in this moment impacts them for the rest of their lives. So like, it's so much easier to choose kindness, to choose empathy, to choose to be the kind of leader that you know you should be.
Well, and so I had a mantra: rise up to be the leader you are meant to be. That was another year mantra. So it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And it's an intentional journey of making decisions from moment to moment to moment. And, you know, I see the world it's changing a lot right now for the better. I mean, people like to focus on what isn't working. I suggest to choose what your contribution to making this world a better place and making a difference in your role, whatever that is if you're listening here, to intentionally, make love matter and put love in motion, because it can't just be in your head. It has to have an intentional action piece here that continues the flow of the evolution and the rising of the vibration within ourselves, but also how that, it's like a bright light in a dark room. It makes an impact on other people. It's like the little short, beautiful Asian woman that says, "Good morning, have a good day."
Yep.
That makes my day. Today I just smiled internally. So even a smile can make a difference.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. I think that is the perfect way to close, with such a beautiful intention. And I hope that everybody listening takes that with them for the rest of their lives, not just today, every day. So thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise and your wisdom and your energy, because I know that it is going to reach the right people, and it reaches me. So I am internally grateful to have met you.
Well, thank you. and and I receive, and I just want your audience to know that they'll be receiving the 21 day above the line gift for them. And please communicate with me the transformations that you have within your life. It will be my receiving from how that makes a difference in your life. So thank you.
That's a wrap on today's episode. If you found yourself nodding along, if you got one good idea, if something resonated with you, please hit that 5-star button. You can find all the links to connect with Carolyn in the show notes. And if you want more founder wisdom, community, and behind the scenes, come hang out at mamir.ink. See you guys next time.